pre-snap situation. Okay? Alignment-wise, okay, the nose is going to be at 0. He should never, ever be lined up wrong. He should never, ever get confused. Okay? He's always going to line up, head up. Okay? Then our tackle and ends are going to be in a 4. So they're going to be head up the offensive tackles. Okay? Our backers are going to be head up the guards. Okay? That's how we start off. Now, there are some exceptions to that, especially if we get what I call a triple, 3 skills, okay, spread out to the field. We very, very seldom get them in a boundary, but we will get them sometimes. But again, things in the boundary are so close together anyway. Into the field, they can get 3 skills, so we will walk the will out a little bit. And everything, for instance, okay, just kind of summarize this real quick. The end and the tackle, okay, the end's going to go to the boundary, tackle's going to go to the field. Mike is going to be the inside backer to the boundary, Will's going to be to the field. So that's how we do that. Roughly 4.5 yards off. Ideally is I want to keep them active, okay? And what I mean by active, I don't want them just to stand there and wait, okay? I want them to be moving around, not a lot, okay? They don't have to move around a lot, but just move a little bit, so then that way, that guard, that center, that tackle, not sure what the heck they're doing. The other thing about it too is, you're talking about movement. Well, if somebody's moving, it's quicker for them to move when the ball is snapped than if they're just sitting, and ball is snapped, they're behind. So get those guys to move in a little bit. And I say a little bit, I mean a yard here or there is what I'm talking about. And the big thing is body position, okay? Coach Wooster talked about body position. I always talk about the idea of just being able to move, bend your knees in a position where you can move any way, forward, back, right, left, without raising your hips or lowering your hips. Everybody's different as far as how they move and what position they can move out of. So I've never told guys, hey, you got to bend at this point, you got to be here. You got to figure that out as far as where do my hips need to be, what's my knee bend in order to be able to move right or left. Okay? Our rush and drop are our outside backers, strong safeties, whatever you want to call them, okay? Their alignment is going to be dependent on number 2. Wherever number 2 aligns, that's going to tell them where to align. And if number 2 is tight, if the number 2 receiver is tight, outside in, then we're going to be on the outside edge of the tight end. And what I mean by the outside edge is, I talk about putting our inside toe on the outside toe 1 yard off the line of scrimmage. That allows me to be able to knife inside if I'm going, can go outside, or whatever the case may be. It gives them enough time from a reaction. We don't see a ton of tight ends. We're seeing more tight ends now, recently. And I say recently, the last couple of years. I mean, there for a while, I wasn't seeing any tight ends. Now it's kind of circled back. So that's the alignment. If number 2 is split, then he talked about intention. Okay? What I liked was the idea of I'm going to split the offensive tackle, and I'm going to split the number 2 receiver, and I want to be 3 yards off the ball and off the line of scrimmage, and I want to be looking in. I want those guys to feel threatened. I want them to feel threatened, and I'm going to be coming off that edge. I may not come off that edge, but if we're getting both sides that way with number 2 split, now, they've got to figure out what they're going to do. Now, we could end up, if number 2 is tight on one side, we're up, and then number 2 split on the other side, and we're off. So it looks like a 4-man front. But it's odd, because we're covering up the center. So that's alignment-wise. Now, if we have 3 to a side, where's number 2? Is he tight or is he split? I don't care what number 3 is doing. I just need to find out where number 2. If 2's tight, if 2 and 3 are tight, then I'm going to be tight. If 2's split out, 3's tight, all I need to worry about. So that's an alignment standpoint. So that's, and again, the drop's going to be to the boundary, the rush is going to be to the field. Okay? Nickel and drop are the deep guys, okay? And take a lot of space. So, and again, on film I'll point out the deep guys. But now, numbering system, I start from the boundary side and work in. So, let's just say we got to the field. Okay. So numbering, or 2, 3, and then Mike is 4, 5, Will 6, 7, 8. Okay? So numbering system, so we start from the boundary personnel is going to be the lower number. So these guys are equal, but again, N's going to be to the boundary all the time. Mike's going to be with the backers, Mike's going to be to the boundary, so he's going to be the lower number. Drop and rush, drop's going to be the lower number. So, now, one of the things from alignment, before we move on also, is these splits. These splits are also going to have an impact on their alignment. For instance, we had one team that would friggin' be wide splits. They wanted to friggin' just stretch us and see how far we'd go. And give you an idea, ball was in the middle of the field, they'd have their tackles on the hash. They'd have one tackle on one hash, the other one on the other hash. Bottom line is, they wanted to protect their quarterback. They said, if you're going to stretch with us, there's no way you're going to get to the quarterback. So, what we did was, we moved inside and became 4 eyes on them. So then that way, they wouldn't stretch and we messed around with the inside a little bit. The opposite, okay, we had another team that wanted to get out on the edge, and they would bring their splits a foot or less. Foot or less. So the rule that we used, anything that was going to be 2 or less feet, then we would play on the outside. We'd line up on the outside in a 5. And what we would do, what our numbering system, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6. Okay? So we'd have a 4-eye, we'd have a 5. So that's how we would do it. 4-eye, 5, and then all the way across. 2-eye, 2, 3. So what we would do is these guys would adjust depending on what the splits were. If those splits were tight, they would play a 5, would run everything out of the 5. Because we have that. We can tag that also. Okay? If there's certain calls that I want just on the, where I want them on the inside in 4 eyes, I tag it and then we move from it. If I want them on the outside, we put them in 5s, and then we tag it with 5 call, and then we run whatever call from it. So that's what we've done with the adjustments. So if there's no tag on it, then they need to look and say, okay, is that split tight or is that split wide? And when I say wide, if it gets over 3 feet, I mean, if it's pushing 4 feet, then they're going to just line up in a 4-eye. Because all they're trying to do is just stretch it, so we're going to make them, okay, think that we'll be inside. And plus, sometimes you put them in that situation just because they're not quick enough. That guy's better, he's quicker, and they're getting him cut off. So I'm just going to put him on the inside, and he should be in a position to make that play if he's angling inside. Same thing on the outside. So it depends on what you're seeing and what you want to accomplish. So now blitzes. So system-wise, okay, go is going to be an outside blitz. It's going to be a CD gap blitz, is what go means. Twist, so the go and the twist is going to be for the rush and drops. Okay, so if they hear a go or a twist, that means the rush or drop is going to be the blitzer. Go means they're going to be in a C gap. go wide, they're going to be a D gap. Go, if we say 2 twist or 8 twist, now they're going to be a B gap. So now they're coming into the B gap, and that end or tackle is going to go to the C gap. Strike is going to be a backer blitz. Okay? Strike is going to be a C gap backer blitz. Plug is going to be a backer B gap blitz. Okay? Chase is going to be a backer A gap blitz. Cross is going to be an A gap, but now the backer is going to cross with the nose to go to the other side. So chase is going to be the same side. So if it's a 4 chase, then the nose, he's going away, the backer is going to go into his side. If it's a 4 cross, the nose is going to come to the 4 side, and the backer is going to go to the opposite A gap. Okay? So that's what the cross is. Okay? And then we get in, crash is going to be, I'll get into that, but now crash is going to be the combination of either the drop of the mic or the will and the rush. Be an A gap and a B gap by those 2 guys is what the crash is. Okay? So that's blitz-wise. Now movements. Okay? Scoop. Okay? So with scoop, that tells the end or the tackle that I'm going to the A gap. Okay? So if we have a two-go scoop, okay? So now a 2-go scoop is going to tell the drop, he's going off the edge, and the end is now going down to the A gap. Now, how does he go down to the A gap? It all depends. Can you help me? Sure. How about they're facing this way? You're the guard, okay? And you're just going to go down and help the center to your right. So if I'm going down, go, and he goes down hard, harder, harder. Now I'm just going to come off his back hip and get to the A gap. I'm not going to cross his face, because if I try to cross his face, they win. They've just got the advantage, they got the angles, they got the seams, everything else. But if he goes down and helps on the nose, then I'm going to just come off his butt and get to the A gap that way. But if there's anything other than that, then as I look, my eyes should be on his far number, his far armpit. But if he does anything else that I can cross his face, if he turns out or whatever, now I'm going to come to the inside. I'm crossing his face to get to the A gap that way. So that's the scoop part. That's the scoop part. Thank you. Scoop nose. Okay, what's scoop nose? Scoop nose now is the same thing, but now we're sending the nose. He's also skipping a gap. So he's going to go to the B gap away. So if we have a 2 scoop nose, now the nose is going to go to the B gap opposite of the 2. Okay? So the end's going to follow him down to the A gap, and the nose is going to work out to the B gap. He's going to work to the B gap the same way that I just showed you. So if that guard comes down, I'm crossing his face. If that guard is going to go out to the offensive tackle and help that way, then I'm coming off his back hip and working to the B gap that way. So I'm going to use his body to take the B gap away, and then I'm going to position myself to make a play if I can cut that ball off. Okay? The outside zone, inside zone, or whatever, you get those guys moving, and that's how we operate on that. Slide protection, I mean all those kind of things. Face, okay? For me, face is we're taking all 3, okay? These 3 guys are all skipping a gap, okay? So if we had a 2 face, okay, 2-go face, okay, so now he's going to work out to the D gap, he's going to work to the B gap, he's going to work to the A gap. So they're all skipping. So we've got movements, we can do 1, we can do 2, or we can do all 3 that way. Now obviously with face is we're getting a lot of an H-back or a tight end where we don't want to get that pin and pull crap, okay? where they block down. Well, he comes down, we're crossing his face. That puts them a little bit of a bind now. Where in the heck are they going to pin? Where are they going to stop and get vertical? What's what they want to do. Okay? Now, what G, T, and Y means. Okay? If I'm an A-gap player, my responsibility A-gap, and I hear the term G, that means I'm attacking the inside of the guard. I'm not worrying about the center. Okay? So if I'm an A-gap, if I'm the nose and I hear a G, whatever way, okay, I'm going to attack, get my eyes on that guard, and I'm going to work to his inside hip. Okay? Same, and if I'm coming down on a scoop G, I want to get on the inside of the guard and get vertical. So if he would happen to try to reach out to me, I don't want to go all the way down to the center. I want to keep my eyes on that inside shoulder and work. If he comes to me, then I need to get on my inside foot and get my eyes on that inside armpit and work vertical that way. So T is the B gap. If I hear T and I'm in the B gap, then I'm going to work through the inside of the tackle. Okay? The inside edge of the tackle. Y is on the inside of the tight end. So if I'm a C gap player, there's a Y call. So again, if I get a tight end that just wants to block down on our tackle or end, then I tag a Y to it. So now I go attack him and not worry about the offensive tackle. So I want to go attack him, and instead of having that shorter edge, I want to see if I can lengthen that edge and work it that way. So those are the movements. Here, I'm going to just briefly hit zone pressures. Anything with a bird is a zone pressure for us. Okay? Blue jay, falcon, mallard, toucan, hawk, merlin, bird, and finch. Okay? That tells our guys that we're going to be zone pressure. Zone pressure means we're going to be 3 deep, 3 under. We're going to be 4 under, 2 deep. 2 deep, 4 under, 3 deep, 3 under. So we're going to be, any time that we call this a bird, then they know it's going to be a zone pressure, and we're going to be in one of those 2 coverages. Okay, so that's how I work through that. The formations, okay, so let's jump into some film.